Surprise, surprise. Guess who had a lot of DNFs in February? Me, of course. You already know. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Nakia. Welcome to my channel. Yes, we are here to talk about the month of February and everything that I read or didn't read. Yes, I had a ton of DNFs. I might as well just tell you right now, spoiler alert, everything was a DNF except one book. So I know this is what you guys love to hear anyway, so you should enjoy this video. Get yourself some tea, some coffee, whatever beverage of choice. I have my coffee here, and let's just talk about this whole mess of February books that I had to suffer through. Now, for a refresher, in the month of February, I was reading books that feature tropes that I love, or so I thought. I still think I love these tropes. I just did not pick the right books. And yeah, I was not that motivated in February. So I'll start with, of course, all the DNFs, but I'll go from the one that I just didn't read much of, I guess, to one I read a lot of. Anyway, first one is There Is No Cloud by Kat Wheeler, I believe. Okay, for some reason, my cats decided to turn up right when I start filming. So you may hear some noise, some toys, whatever, ignore it. But yeah, so this book is about this woman named Cameron who works for some tech company, home tech company, like an Alexa type of thing. And there ends up being some corruption within this system. I had this on my list because I love tropes where there's evil tech and corruption. But this book, I'm sorry, I just could not connect to the writing. Why am I apologizing to you? You didn't write it. But yeah, I just was not feeling the writing. It was just so disjointed. I had to keep rereading sentences, and it was a lot of the office stuff. I said this about Secret Santa. I don't care about office politics. It just does not appeal to me. I wanted to get to the nitty gritty and get to the, I wanted more science fiction and tech and then get to the corruption. But this was, like I said, just some woman having meetings in her office and talking about people. But I have an example of one of the sentences that I just felt like, what? This made no sense. One of my cats just ran. One of my cats just zipped around here. Anyway, let me put this down because I'm trying to hold the Kindle. But this is when she's talking about some man named Adam who's a partner to her boss or whatever. And she says, he was making more margin on smart tech products than anyone else in her territory. Mostly she caved on deals just to shut him up. Did anyone else catch that? I believe she's talking about herself, but she doesn't mention herself in this sentence or paragraph right before that. It just was, like I said, disjointed. I just had a hard time following it. Another sentence, something she tried never to miss lest she completely lose her sanity. It just didn't make sense to me. It just didn't flow. That is a big thing for me, which is why I have said in videos that I always read a preview of a book before I read it because I just need distracted by these cats. I need to be able to gel with the writer. And this one I read, but I think I just read like a first sentence or two. Sometimes I do that. I get excited and I'll read like one or two sentences and I'm like, good. Oh, we're good. Same thing happened with the next book I'm going to talk about. But as I started reading more, I was like, no. And it has good reviews, but for me, I don't know if people read the same book, but I'm sorry, just DNF. So, let me tell you how far I got. Got my journal. So for There Is No Cloud, I DNF'd it on page 17 at 7%. Wasn't gonna waste my time. And I wrote, didn't like the writing, grammar just didn't flow, writing was confusing, too much office/tech talk. I don't know why I put tech talk because I don't even remember any of that. I think I meant like the whole, like you heard margins and profits and stuff like that. I didn't sign up for that. Let's move along, shall we? Oh, and I had another book on the list, Gnaw, a haunted house horror book by Tate Thompson. Unfortunately, I just didn't get to it. I just didn't have time. So I still want to read it. It's a short novella. So hopefully I'll squeeze it in another month or closer to spooky season. So that one's not a DNF because I didn't even, well, I read like a couple sentences, but it wasn't bothering me. I just put it down and started reading other stuff. So there you go. Next up though, put this down. Lately, I'm just not having the best luck with middle grade books. And this one I am really disappointed in because, as I said in my TBR video, it won a Newbery Award. So I just thought this one was going to be great. And I'm speaking of The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. Hopefully you can see that. And the foil is, I know there's light and whatnot. This one was supposed to be a game is played. There is an inheritance at stake. And all these folks are invited for the reading of the will, but they have to play a game to win the inheritance. And I had this on my list because I love games that people have to play in a book, in a mystery thriller book type of situation. I know sci-fi too because I have like Ready Player One on the list, but that's like virtual reality type of thing. But in the real world where it's mystery thriller and a game involved, I love it. So for this one, I still have the bookmark in. I DNF'd it around page 37. This is one I feel like it has to do with the time period that it was written in. It was written in 1970 something. Originally 1978, yeah, before I was born. So I just know from my experience with this and Haunting of Hill House and a little bit I've read of Frankenstein, people used to take their time with their writing back then. There are slow burn novels now, but it's just different. This just took too long to get to the damn game, especially with mystery thriller books. When you got something like a game, you got to get to it quick. With mystery thrillers, you either got to open strong or get to it quickly after that. So like I said, for this one, it was also a thing of where I just wasn't into the writing. As I said, it was taking too long to get to the game. Let me let you know what I wrote in my journal. I wrote the writing style was just not for me, probably because it's a classic, as I just said. It took too long to get going. Just said that. And I actually wrote down the game didn't even start until page 31/32. And even then, I wasn't interested. Also, I said the stakes weren't high enough. As I said, this book deals with an inheritance plot. And, nowadays money has to be high. And back in this time period, the money was $10,000. So it was kind of just like, that's it. I could go through that real quick. But yeah, and like I said, it was starting off in the beginning with like neighborhood gossip and drama. And it just wasn't even interesting, neighborhood gossip and drama. It was just boring. It was talking about, oh, there's so-and-so. And then it was going through each person's day. And I just didn't care. But I am not the target audience. Let me say that. I do not want to speak too negatively about middle grade books because, again, I am not the target audience. Yeah, you may enjoy it. The writing just wasn't for me. So let's move on. Now, this next one, I was really looking forward to it because it is a thriller, mystery, locked room, closed circle. That is why it was on the list for tropes that I love. And it has to do with the snow and all of that. And I'm speaking of Shiver by Ali Reynolds. I got a lot to say. Basically, it says on here, it started as a reunion and ended with a murder. So basically we have a group of friends who are snowboarders. They all get a letter, email, whatever, inviting them to come get together for a reunion, as it says on the cover. And there is a secret that one of their friends went missing or they believe died. So like I said, we pick up with them all coming together at this chalet, resort, whatever. They get there, it's abandoned, but they're like, okay, maybe it's because of the weather, whatever. So they get there, there's a box with a note that tells them they have to play a little icebreaker game. So the game is basically like they have to write down something that no one knows about them. So they all write down something, put it in the box. When one of them starts to read the answers, it's like deep, dark secrets. And they're all like, I thought we were doing this for fun. Why would somebody put that in there? And then one of them, it says like that the friend was murdered or whatever. And so then they're all like, all right, who's playing games? And everybody's like, I didn't write it. I didn't write it. And then one of them finds that there's like a false bottom in the box. It said in the book that the ones they wrote down were like on the top level. And then the ones that were planted there were on a bottom row, which I was like, how would that work? Because if you're digging in, you would think you would get the ones at the top. I let it go. But anyway, so they realized it was a trap. And then we have two timelines. The book goes in between the present, where they're at the resort chalet, and then we have flashbacks to the past where they were all at this snowboarding competition and how they all met and etc. This book should have been marketed as a YA, or it should have been in the YA category. There was just so much goddamn romance drama and who likes who and who slept with who and just drama. It was too much. Oh my God, this book irritated the mess out of me. I actually got pretty far too. Let me look because I didn't leave the bookmark in here. So yeah, I actually got to page 113. I got pretty damn far. I just wanted to give this book a chance. And then when I got irritated, I went on Goodreads, which you already know if you're a regular viewer of my channel, that is never a good sign. I got on Goodreads and started looking at some of the reviews, and people were saying the same things about the relationship drama. And it was just like, are you kidding me? There were lines like, first of all, she used the words, Allie Reynolds, used the words large hands too many times to describe a guy's attractiveness or quote unquote sexiness, like his large hands, whatever. How is that sexy? I mean, I'm sorry, maybe it's just me. And then there was a line where she says, like I said earlier, you can fall on me anytime. It's just the lines were just so cheesy. I could probably flip to any page, let's see here, and find something where it's just like, ugh. I just opened up to page 69. Want my jacket, Curtis says. No thanks, I say. Want mine, Brent says. This is a love triangle. It was on my nerves. See, I opened it up to any page. So it was just too much of that. And it was this whole thing of like the main character, Mila, who we're following, she really likes Curtis, but then she also slept with Brent. And it's just this whole drama of like who she really wants to be with versus who she slept with and all this crap I didn't care about. It's like basically all of them that get together have slept with one another or wanted to at some point in time. Oh. And then it says in the back of the book about the author that she is a former freestyle snowboarder who swapped her snowboard for a surfboard and moved to the Gold Coast in Australia. It is very clear that she was a snowboarder because all the chapters that have to do with the past, with the snowboarding, was very detailed snowboarding scene. It was like the Olympics where somebody's narrating, I don't give a damn about no snowboarding and I don't need all these details. That was my issue with One by One. There was a little bit much details with skiing because the author, Ruth Ware, had done her research, but it wasn't like this. This was to a whole nother level. Like I was skimming and skimming like, are you kidding me? So between the snowboarding and the drama with the relationships and sleeping around and all that crap, I was done. I didn't even care about the twist or who, if the friend was dead or not dead, missing. I didn't care. Didn't care. It was too much. Like I said, this should have been a YA book. It just wasn't for me. I found out what the twist was. I looked on Goodreads and I was just like, okay, no. So DNF, like I said, 113. If you read this book and liked it, you can let me know in the comments. I do know of some other booktubers who liked it, but this was just not for me. Ugh. No. Okay, and now let's talk about the one book that I actually read this month. Sad. God. If I counted my DNFs towards my reading, it would be way higher, but I don't do that. Oh, and then let me clarify. I realize when people leave me comments about DNFs, they always say, I would DNF, but I don't like wasting my money. And I was like, I probably wouldn't either. I don't buy these books. All of my books come from the library. I've said this before. I will put a link to my minimalist video where I talk about my whole thing about buying books. But yeah, all of my books come from the library. I do get some new releases on my Kindle. With Kindle, if you delete it from your Kindle within like a couple days of buying it, they will give you your money back. So then I don't end up wasting my money. But sometimes I do. And when it's digital, I guess it doesn't bother me as much as seeing it sitting on my shelf and knowing that I paid for it and didn't enjoy it. So I don't blame you, but just know I'm not wasting money. I borrow these and take them right back to the library. So yes, anyway, the one book that I got through this month was one of my most anticipated books since 2021 because I read Recursion by Blake Crouch and loved it. It was one of my favorite books of 2021, so I could not wait to read Dark Matter. And so many of you said that you loved this book. You liked it more than Recursion, so I was really excited. Just real quick, this is about a man named Jason who is going through his life. He has a beautiful wife that he loves and they have a son. And he goes out to go meet with some friends for a little celebration. One of his scientist friends wins an award. And when he's on the way home, what I remember, he gets kidnapped by this masked man. And the man says to him basically like, you know, do you love your life? Blah, blah, blah. He is rendered unconscious. I don't want to spoil anything. And when he wakes up, everything that he knew is not the same anymore. He was a college professor. He is no longer a professor. His wife is not his wife. His son is not his son. and he has to figure out what the hell happened. I picked this for the trope of where someone wakes up to a reality where everything is different than what they knew. I'm gonna tell you right now, I ended up giving this book 3.5 stars. I have to figure out if I'm gonna round up or round down. I'm not sure, but that lets you know I preferred Recursion. Initially, when he's kidnapped and there's the masked man, I guessed who it was. So I don't know, maybe that would have been a bigger twist or reveal for me. And it's funny because people who read a lot of thriller and mystery books always guess twists and stuff. And they always say, I guess because I read a lot of thriller mystery books, I'm able to guess the twist. And I'm like, well, I never do, so okay. This one is like maybe because I watch a lot of sci-fi thriller type movies, action, superhero stuff. I was able to guess that twist, but it was fine. I made it a little more fun because I couldn't wait to see if I was right. And in the beginning, it was a page turner. When I started, I was like 5 stars. This is gonna be 5 stars. If the ending is right, 5 stars. Because when he woke up, of course, the suspense of like, what is going on? We're on this ride with him trying to figure out what the hell happened, what happened to his life. And every time he gets close to finding out something, something comes in and stops him. And you're like, but wait, I want to know. What were they getting ready to say? What was about to happen? Arg. And I will also tell you this book deals with the multiverse, which I love. So basically in this book, we find out that there are multiple realities that are basically stacked on top of each other. So all these timelines are happening at the exact same time. What makes each one different is the decisions that different versions of yourself or Jason in this book makes. Also, the people around you can affect that reality as well. And it's quantum physics. I don't fully understand the quantum physics. He did go into a little bit in the book where I was like, I'm just gonna keep reading. But that was a little part. The rest I really got. I loved it. I just love that kind of sciencey stuff to make you think. As I said with Recursion, this one is all about like the choices we make. In this book, Jason made a choice with his career versus family. And a lot of us know what that's like, myself included, except the other way around, family versus career. And, you know, he gets a second chance of, do you want to choose career over family this time or whatever? And so I love that. I found it so fascinating. I had so many quotes from this book that I took snapshots of because I couldn't highlight or anything. But it was just like I said, so thought-provoking. Then I got to the end. And that is where it started to crumble for me. It just became so over the top and cheesy and just borderline annoying. All I will say is, as I said, there are these multiple realities where there are many different versions of everyone in this book. And there becomes a point where, let's just say, a bunch of versions come together. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say of which characters, but then it just got to be, like I said, cheesy. I have a subscriber who commented and wrote me on Instagram. You could DM me, by the way. And he was like, it was like a bad sci-fi movie for me. And I wrote him back and I was like, excuse you, I love it. I wasn't at the part yet. And then when I got to the end, I was like, oh, I see what he means. I actually wrote him back and I was like, I get it now. Oh, the ending just ruined it for me. And then the very ending was predictable. I was like, I already know where this is going, because he ended this in a similar way that he did with Recursion, except Recursion didn't bother me. Also, my issue with this was that the stakes were just not high enough. With Recursion, the world was on the line. They had to save the world. In this book, it was just about him getting back to his life, his wife and his son, and just what he went through and the things that happened. I was just like, you got a whole multiverse out there, not universe, multiverse. I don't know. The ending just didn't work for me. But I did enjoy the majority of it, and I'm still going to read more Blake Crouch. I can't wait for his new book, and I hope it's better. So knowing that this came before Recursion, I get it, because to me, the writing was better with Recursion. He improved. So I really can't wait for the new one. It should be better and better. But yeah, so like I said, 3.5 stars. Probably going to round down to 3, but I'm not 100% sure. There we go. So there we have it. I know so many of you couldn't wait for me to read Dark Matter, and let me know in the comments if I disappointed you, if you felt the same way, whatever. Let's talk about it, because when I was reading it, I was like, oh, I see why everybody loves this book. And then when I got to the end, I was like, uh-oh, they may not like what I have to say. So like I said, let me know in the comments. Let's talk about dark matter. If you don't have a comment, you just want to show me some love, you can leave me a broken heart emoji because these books broke my heart this month. Even the one that I enjoyed and read, still was disappointed. So yeah. And feel free to let me know if you've read any of these other books, if you have any comments about that, or what your worst book was of February. I don't want to know about the best. That's not as fun. Let me know about your worst books of February. And as always, all of the books will be linked below, as well as ways you can support my channel. You can always donate a cup of coffee or tea and help me to buy books so I can read more new releases, all of that good stuff on my Ko-fi accounts. You can donate. Link is always below. And yeah, I believe that is it for this video, ladies and gentlemen. So until next time, snuggle up in your hideaway with a good book, better than these. Unplug as much as possible, especially from the news. Be kind to all kind, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.